Welcome back to another episode of Empowerment Hour. We are your hosts, Maria Shapley and Annie Bryson, bringing you spiritual insights to personal growth. Today, we're going to have some fun and just have you get to know us a little bit better. And we're going to go through some questions for you to know what our experience has been like as psychics and being intuitive. And if any of you are intuitive or psychic too, this is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah, we're hoping that some of you listening today might be able to relate to some of the stories and experiences that we've had and kind of share with you what we've been through, how we got here, what we know, and just have some fun today. This is about having fun. Yeah. All right. Can I ask the first question?
Yeah.
Okay. Maria, what was your first psychic experience?
My first psychic experience, I would say, I was thinking about this. I would say it started when I was young, and actually didn't even know it. Through my dreams. I've always been really big into dreams and dream journaling. And I think just through these different dreams and trying to understand them and analyze them, that was actually my way of like unknowingly developing, I think, my psychic skills. And then they were just weird dreams, just really weird. They felt very visceral, very real. And I think that was my first psychic experience as a child. But then as I grew older as an adult, and I would have some really like specific moments, I would say specific moments I experienced would be, I think it was always that sense of knowing. So if someone were to say something, do you know the answer to this? I'm like, yeah, this is the answer. But how do you know that that's the answer? I'm like, I don't know. I just know it. And then lo and behold, the answer was right. So I don't know how I knew that the answer was right. And I think that's what it was. But a fun story, I would say, another one through dreams again. Okay, I was what, 20. So this is later on. So I had all these different little experiences growing up. And then later on, I was doing this journey, and I was with a friend at the time. And in this journey, I started like channeling different spirits and was able to just give all this information where I felt like this soothsayer. I was like, hey, you want to know what you want to know? Here you go. Here's all the information. So it was a really wild. It was weird.
That's awesome. So you had people around you at that time that could kind of you gave the information to, and then they could validate it for you.
Yeah, it was just me and one other person, but I started channeling other people. So I was like bringing the information in from whoever these people were. And the person I was talking to, he was just like, what the hell is happening? Really bizarre.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you think in that moment? Were you thinking like, what the heck too, or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's always, a lot of people always say their first time something happens and then they're like, did that just really happen? Did that?
Right.
So it's kind of nice you had someone there with you to validate, oh my gosh, yeah, I saw Maria do this. She said this. And
Yeah.
yeah. My first psychic experiences like that too. I had a friend with me. So when I was 14 years old, I had a really close friend pass away, and it was really hard. And the first couple days, it was weird. When he passed, I kept feeling the urge to write to him, and I thought, well, that's weird. Why do I want to write to him? It was weird. I can't describe it. It was just like, write to him, write to him, write to him. And I had a friend who was kind of into all this fun stuff. And I went over to her house and she said, oh, I know. And she gave me a piece of paper and a pencil. And she had me sit down. She goes, just put your pencil to the paper and just see what happens. And it took a few moments. And once it started going, I was starting to automatic write. So that's a form of psychic abilities where you can automatic write from spirits, ghosts, angels. And so I started writing, and the information coming through was from my friend. So it wasn't that I wanted to write him, he wanted to bring me information. And so
Whoa.
we were writing, and I was very 14. I was young at the time. And so I didn't think to ask the right questions. I was just like,
Yeah.
what is going on? How is this possible? And it was such a profound experience because one, he came through and it was the first time I had a contact with someone on the other side. I could tell it was him, I could feel it was him. The writing was absolutely different than mine. And he said, I'm okay. I want you to know I'm okay. That was the biggest thing that I realized. Okay,
Oh
he
my.
wasn't hurting, he wasn't suffering, he was okay. And he told me, I'm working with my family to help them through this. And it was incredible. And then so we tested it. I gave the pencil to my friend and paper, and she wrote, and it was the exact same handwriting, and he spoke through her as well. So we knew it wasn't just, I had to test that it wasn't me going crazy.
Right, right.
You know. And
Wild.
yeah, and then for 3 or 4 days, I kept writing to him, and I could feel like he'd pop in and pop out, so he was definitely going back and forth somewhere. That's how to describe it. Is my hand would move, and then it would stop for a while, and then it would move, and it would stop for a while. And
Hmm.
then there was this period of time that came where I was writing him, and he goes, look, I have to go right now. And I go, go where are you going? And he goes, I just have to go. I can't talk to you anymore. I have to go. Thank you for everything. Bye. And
What?
then, yeah. And I was like, again, 14, what the heck is this? Where did he go? Where did he go?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when I realized, I've experienced this now so many times since then, that when your loved one passes over, they're close to earth for about 5 to 7 days. Now that varies from person to person, but it's usually 5 to 7 days. And then they go into the light and go to whatever the next dimension or the next reality that they're in. So he was transitioning completely over to the next place he had to be. And so it was,
That's so crazy. That is
yeah,
profound.
it was amazing. I learned so much in that moment. I learned about automatic writing. I learned about our deceased loved ones. I learned so much, but I had to study it a long time after that to really, I needed to verify, did that really happen? And you kind of,
Uh-huh.
so I
Right.
want the audience to know that even if something seems too weird, go with it. Go with it. Everybody gets a different response. So automatic writing is where you just take a pencil or pen, put it to paper, and just let your guides or whatever flow through you. And you'll feel your hand kind of move. If you use pendulums, it's kind of the same way. You'll feel the cord go yes or no. And automatic writing, it's the same way. Something just kind of takes over and starts bringing words into you. So
Are you
yeah,
still automatic writing? That feels like a gift that you've had since you were a child.
I did for a long time, and now I don't need to do that anymore. So I just are now I just they talk to me
Yeah.
directly. At
Yeah.
some point I'm like, I don't need the paper. I can hear them clearly communicate with me. So
Mhm.
I don't have to do that anymore. But it's something that if you want to experiment with, if you want to talk, I would start with your guides. If you're in the audience and you just want to start, just ask a guide to come through and speak to you, and you can put your always connect to the light first. We are huge about that. Connect to the light. And then you can sit with a pencil and paper and just see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
cool. Cool. Okay, yeah.
You want to do, okay. Next question.
Uh-huh.
All right. Do you believe in ghosts or spirits?
Definitely. I feel like I've been growing up with them my entire life. I feel like it's something my mom and my sister and I loved doing. We loved, and
Mm.
actually with psychic stuff too. We would always go to psychic shops. We're always going to spiritual healers. We're always wanting to learn, like, okay, let's like check out this shop, or like let's check out this psychic. And then with ghosts and spirits, we would go to like graveyards and cemeteries or houses, and we're exploring. We're like, okay, what ghosts are there? Growing up in my nan's house, well, it was my mom's house and it's my grandmother. And her house is like in Philadelphia, Northeast Philly, this like big house, and she just wears dark glasses. She's got big black hair. She's like the sweetest little woman, but she just like loves sitting in the dark and watching like vampire movies and talking about ghosts, like always talking about ghosts. And I remember at a point in my life, we were living there for a little bit, and she would come in here and talk about the Indian spirit that just flies on by throughout the night. And I'm 9 years old, like, what? I don't like, what do you mean this Indian spirit? I don't know. But I just grew up always talking about ghosts and spirits, taking pictures. I remember we would take pictures and like there were like orbs everywhere. So we were always very inquisitive about orbs and spirits and ghosts and not fully understanding it. I think till my first interaction with a ghost, I'm like, oh, okay, this is for real. I was living in Philadelphia in Port Richmond. I'd moved in Philly so many different times. I think it was my 5th year finally living there. And this was not my favorite place to live. And it was definitely haunted. And I should have, and I wish I was more in tune then. Like I was in tune, but I didn't know I was in tune then, before deciding to live there. And I remember moving in, and then the first night, the lights are flickering. There's like a burning smell. I'm like, what is going on? And I could just feel this presence, and I guess entities or ghosts in there, but I didn't have the tools or the training to understand what the heck this was or how to make them leave or ask them questions. This was what, 10 years ago. But yeah, I had communication with them until I said, okay, I gotta go. But yeah, ghosts and
Oh,
spirits are real.
so
And
what did you like communicate with them? Did you just like, did they come talk to you? Did they give you messages? Did you just see them and say hi? What did you do?
I was scared of them because I feel like they were trying to get me out of the house. And I what did I do? I think what the heck did I even do at the time? I think I left. I moved out. I stayed there for a little bit, and I'm like, how do I get out of this house? And so I left. And another time talking with a spirit, I think I would just like communicated with them. I then began started asking questions like, who are you? Like, how long have you been here? And then I started receiving messages. I'm like, oh, they've been here. Oh, yeah, I remember. Oh, they've been here for a long time. This person died in this house, and they're angry and they don't want to leave, and they feel like they have ownership to this house. And I'm like, yeah, but you're miserable. You're so upset. Like, why are you still here? And there were a lot of spirits over there. That's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then another house in Fishtown when I lived in Philly. Oh my God.
So, note
um,
to self, do not move to Philadelphia.
oh
Bad
my gosh.
idea. Bad idea.
Bad idea. There's spirits and ghosts everywhere. I think because it's so historic and old, it's
Oh
just,
yeah.
yeah.
It's got hundreds and hundreds of years of, yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
versus like on the West Coast, it's
yeah.
very, there is a definite different feeling between the East Coast and the West Coast because everything started over there.
Right. Yeah. So true. Yeah.
That's that's crazy. So I have never lived in a house with ghosts. But
All right. Good.
I believe in ghosts and spirits. I know I I see them in different ways. I see orbs. I've never seen the movie type ghost where
Yeah.
the
Right.
scary
Like that.
nose and it comes. But I know some people do see them. And to me, what I have learned about ghosts is they're usually 99% of the time for me, they're a lost soul. There's someone who's angry, mad, died unexpectedly. They have no idea what's going on. They missed the light, the whatever the tunnel is to get to the next realm. They kind of missed it. And I've seen ghosts on sacred lands. So a lot of Native American lands talk about ghosts being there, their ancestors being there. So yeah, I know they're real, and I know there's different levels. There's, like Maria said, there's some that are not very nice at all. And
Yeah.
what I want to tell the audience today is none of them can harm you. I know sometimes if you've ever had a scary experience, you're like, oh my gosh, this is bad, but they cannot harm you. They cannot harm you. They might knock a picture off the wall, but the number one universal law is free will. So you can command them gone. But that's the thing. Most of us don't know. You can say, get the heck out of my space or leave. Or what I do is if someone calls and says, hey, I've got ghosts, I connect with them and send them to the light. I connect with them, ask them some questions, and I will do a healing on that ghost soul or spirit and say, okay, why are you still here? Just like Maria did with the other one. And then I say, let's get you to where you need to be so you can feel better. And they always go. They always go.
I was going to say, have you ever had an experience where they're like, no, I'm staying here. This is.
Well, some are stubborn. Some are.
Yeah. Okay.
Some are stubborn, but if you just, I have to be really persistent and say, no, this is not where you're supposed to be. This is not where you're supposed to be. And sometimes it's really cool. That ghost just needed one message to their child or their grandchild or something. And once that message gets delivered, they're gone. It's different every single time, but it's really awesome when you're open to it.
Yeah, for sure. Fun.
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
Can we ask the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay. Do you think there are aliens?
I love this. What a big question, right? It's a big question. Yes, I do believe in aliens. It's an energy that I don't dabble in a lot, but I'm getting more experience with. I've watched a lot of documentaries and shows, and I do believe we are not the only life in this galaxy. And I know that's hard because we have a lot of religions saying that we are it. But look, I mean, my goodness, look up at night. How can we be the only people when you look up and there's all those bright stars everywhere? And I have worked with a couple. I have had 2 clients who have felt alien energy. And one gal, I'll share the story. It was at a holistic festival and she sat down with me. And this was crazy. She sat down and the energy I felt was so different. I almost passed out. And my husband was in the booth with me and he almost passed out. And I said to her, I didn't know what it was. I just said, do you know you've got some stuff on you? And she said, oh yeah, aliens visit me all the time. And so I was like, okay. And what I did is I worked with her. I'm like, okay, first what we did is I cleared her off and she felt so much better. And then I'm like, okay, can we make this so they're not visiting you all the time? So here's what I want to say to the audience. I feel like there's 2 levels. There's actual people talk about seeing physical aliens. And then I also think there's an energy from some type of other species. It's an alien energy. I can't describe it. It feels like metallic. It feels different. It makes me super dizzy and almost pass out every time. So that's how I know when something is by. But there is I have to tell you this. I watched this amazing show because this woman went on this trip. There are places around the world called stargates, and there's not very many of them. But stargates are what they feel are portals or dimensions where aliens can come in and out. And I know a lot of people go there. And if you talk to, these are usually in very remote places where tribal energy is there. And if you go and you look at the history or the culture or hear the stories, a lot of those places will talk about different life forms and how they've come in and how they helped their village survive or their tribe learn something new. There's documented stories from these places, and I find it so fascinating.
It is, yeah. I think there are a lot of people. I think Arizona is a good place. Stephen Greer, he does a lot of like experiential alien stuff, but there are a lot of alien speakers. But yeah.
Yeah, there is up in Washington State here, there is one guy, I believe on Mount Hood, that I would love to visit that says he's at a place where he has things come up at the mountain top. And so I kind of want to get over there and experiment and just try and see what happens. But what about you, Maria? What do you think? Are there aliens? What do you think? What do you believe?
I definitely think there are aliens. I think my first experience with an alien was when I was living in Fishtown in Spiritville, Spirit Town. And I had, and I've always been like big about my dreams. And so in terms of sleep and dreaming, sometimes as I was younger, it hasn't happened to me recently or in the last few years or so, I go into this place called like sleep paralysis at times where I feel like I can't move. And it can be scary, but if you embrace it, what I've learned is that if you embrace it, you can go into other dimensions and whatnot. But it can be terrifying, terrifying. And it was one of those nights where I went into that place, and as I'm sleeping or laying there, I see this big blue figure at the end of my bed. And this man is really tall, at least 7, 8 feet, bald head, very muscular, thin toned. And it was just like this electric blue light around him. And he's just at the end of my bed. And I'm like, what do I do? There's just some blue man at the end of my bed. And I don't know if this is TMI for the audience, but whatever. So I'm just laying there, and he just kind of makes his way with me in the bed and shares an experience with me, and I kind of embraced it. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what the hell's happening. Maybe this is a part of my imagination that's coming out. Maybe it's a real alien. I don't know. But what I perceived to be, it was some interstellar being that made his way into my bedroom. And so after I could feel his bald head. I'm like, okay, that was kind of enjoyable, whatever. But after he left, the next day, I'm like, what do I do about that? Who do I tell? Like, it felt so real. I remember telling my mom, and she's like, what the heck? Like, and now I'm supposed to drop you back off at home, and you got aliens in your room. She's like, I don't feel comfortable with this. But it was funny. But I think that was my first time with an alien. What do you feel like when you feel into that story? What does that feel like to you?
Yeah. Well, it feels real because I've experienced sleep paralysis myself, and the first time it was scarier than heck. It was so scary. I had a similar experience where a man came. I was totally awake. I could see my whole room. I couldn't move a muscle, and a man came into my room, and he just came real close to me, looked at me, and then walked away. And I
Yeah.
remember trying to scream and nothing happening, and I was freaked out. So that right there tells me, the sleep paralysis I know is real because I've experienced that. And I know they talk about that when your mind body relaxes to that point that you can see other dimensions, other portals, other experiences. There's more than us humans can really see or know at this time. And so it does feel real. And as long as it wasn't scary for you, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess not.
Because
I guess
maybe during the time it was a little freaky, but
yeah. But then I
yeah.
would say my first time seeing an actual alien in person was again at this like journey group, and this man who I know, he's a real human. He is a psychic. He's a really great psychic, and I think he was doing that for a living for a while. But we're in the group, and they're all I was the youngest. I always get put into like these are like veterans. They've been around and like doing this work for at least 30 years more, and I'm like newbie just showing up. But we're in journey space, and I see him, and he turns into an alien, and I'm like, what do I do with this? He's an actual alien. So I think that there are people in human form who are connected to other races or aliens, or maybe are alien form. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
I know. There's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube. I personally have never delved any further deeper into it because I just haven't gone that I haven't needed to go that way. But I know there's a lot of people out there who talk about this stuff and are connected to other galaxies and races, out there. Lemurians, Arturians,
Mm.
Pleiadians. I'm going to say that wrong.
Aliens. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know there's people that have information out there. So go look it up. If that's something that resonates with you, check it out and see what there is.
Dolores Cannon is a good one. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool, Maria. That's
Yeah.
what an experience. Okay, you want to do question number 4?
Yep.
Oh, we kind of did.
Yep. Have you ever communicated with one? Yeah, we talked about that. Okay. Going back to psychic abilities, can anyone be psychic or do you have to be special?
I love this question. Anyone can be psychic.
Yay!
I truly believe that. I truly believe that everybody is intuitive. And being intuitive is, to me, is the exact same as being psychic. The two words are interchangeable to me. They mean the same thing. And it's just, all it is needing to learn what your gifts are and how you use them. And if you're open to it, some amazing things can come through. What are your thoughts, Maria?
Love it. I think that anyone can be psychic or intuitive. I think, yeah, when you say intuitive and psychic, it's the same thing. I think with psychic, maybe, yeah, it's the same thing. You can develop one clair more than the other, or one of your clairs or your senses. Yeah, I also believe too that maybe some people are more inclined in this lifetime to be a psychic or an intuitive than another person. That could just be based on interest. It could be based on your past life. It could just be based on any of those things. But if you have the want to be psychic, then yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can definitely learn it. I mean, that's what I want to empower people to feel like they can get their own answers. They can find help for themselves if they need to. You know, that's, for me, that's what I really like to do. But I know, I just want to give some examples to me being psychic. Okay, here's one example of my mom. She would, as I was growing up, this is before cell phones and stuff. You just had the map in the trunk of the car or wherever. My mom, seriously, we were driving downtown Seattle somewhere, and she did this all the time. Had no idea where she was going, didn't even look it up, just got in the car, drove, turned here. Oh, this looks good, I'll turn here. And bam, we'd end up at the same place, the right place every time. And
Oh,
I always thought, whoa, that's so weird. To her, it was no big deal. But really, that's a psychic gift, to get where you're going and have no idea, and you just intuitively turn where you need to go. That's how easy and simple it can be, is where, if you know where you're always going. Can you think of another example for people so they know that they may have a psychic gift that they can develop?
yeah. I would say whenever you get that gut feeling about something, if about a person, a place, a situation where you're like, no, I don't think it'll be good. Like, how do you know you don't think it'll be good? That's because that's your intuition. Or if you think something's like, yes, this is going to work out great, that's your intuition.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that. Yes, just trusting your gut reaction.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go to the next question.
Okay.
What modalities have you studied that have helped you?
I would say our most recent training through Christy Sheldon, that was a really taking intuition 101, 201 intensive. And the other courses had really helped me within the last 3 years. Before that, I would say studying shamanism and shamanic psychology helped me understand, oh, yeah, helped me understand the way that I relate to symbols. Because shamanic psychology is, it's almost like understanding symbols and your own psyche and like how you relate to yourself and others. That helped me. The mentorship training, I took a year-long media mentorship training with Cindy Kaza, and that helped me understand, like, develop my clairs more, my clairvoyance, my clairsentience, just developing all the clairs, and then how to really connect to a deceased loved one. These are some trainings. Meditation really helps. Just getting into that meditative place and asking the question to, okay, what would it take to open up to my psychic abilities more? And really focusing on that. Yeah, I think that's what helps me the most. What about you?
That's awesome. So the modalities that I have studied under, I started a long time ago. I did Reiki. And then I moved from Reiki to a healing modality called the UN method. And that was from Dr. Cam Yuen. And he was a man that developed another healing training. And that was fun. I got to go to Mount Shasta and study with him. And that was really amazing.
Amazing.
And then after that, I studied energy medicine under Donna Eden, and I looked into tapping, and I kind of dabbled. There's so much great stuff out there. There really is amazing things out there, and I love to play in this energy. So I do whatever felt great. So after those ones, just kind of playing around with tapping and energy medicine, then I moved into theta healing, which is a really great thing by Vienna Steibel. And I'm giving you names in case this resonates, any of these resonate with you and you want to look them up. She has tons and tons and tons of courses, really great courses, and books. She has a lot of books out. You can go and order her books and read a lot. She talks about diseases and disorders, and that was really fun. I really learned more about the body through her work. And then I moved in with Christy Marie Sheldon, and that's how Maria and I met. Is we worked for 3 or 4 years with her, learning a lot of amazing things about being intuitive. And that's what I did. I just went with whatever felt good at the time, whatever made my body feel good, my heart feel good, helped me feel uplifted. That's what I studied and practiced and played with. And so now a lot of people come to me, well, what modality do you use? I actually have kind of circled back around to my true nature. And when I was a little girl, I could feel illnesses and diseases. And so that's what I like to work on with people, is body issues, body health issues. And yes, I've had a lot of good training. And what's cool about that is I can tell when I'm working on a person what modality would fit them best to help clear it. So there might be some type of saying I need to say. It might need to be a feeling for them. It might, there's every person is different. But I've kind of come now with learning all that into my true self. But I encourage anybody, go out and study and learn. It's fun. It's fun. And you learn a lot about yourself. And I think it really helps.
Totally. Yeah. And now with all these different trainings, it's like you have all these tools in your different toolbox. What are you going to pull out of your toolbox? And you can go to this one or this one, depending on
Yeah.
the person.
Yes. And every person's completely different.
Mhm.
Everybody learns a different way. We learn this in school, but it's the same with your psychic abilities. You learn a different way. They talk about all the different clairs. Are you a feeler? Do you hear things? Do you know things? What is it? Do you see dreams? Do you see images? There's a lot of different ways. So not one modality fits everybody. I encourage you, go out, find what fits for you, use some of the classes and see how it helps you and benefits your life.
Mhm. Yeah, and thanks for saying that too, because that reminds me of something when, like growing up, we're talking about psychic abilities, or modalities. I think I was always a feeler because anytime something was going to happen bad, and I talked about this on another episode before, just like being in an environment where maybe there was some chaos, but I could feel. I was very much a feeler and a knower. I'm like, okay, I feel this is about to happen. Um, and it's almost like my intuition was always leading me to the certain training I needed to have. It was leading me towards this and that. So like the intuition was always guiding me. I don't know if I shared this before. 12 years old, I had just taken, for some reason, the stars lined up or whatever, and I had to get certified in CPR. I'm like, okay, I'll get
12.
certified at 12. It was like a school requirement. I'm like, okay, I'll get certified in CPR. 3 months later, I'm at my nan's house and she has cardiac arrest. And it's me, my mom, and my sister. And it was, I mean, this was like one of the most traumatic experiences. It was really scary. And I remember we're just in the kitchen. We hear this like, whoa, this scary sound from downstairs. We go down. She's over the couch. She's blue in the face, like foamy at the mouth, whatever. Don't want to get too many details, whatever. But um, I checked her pulse. I knew what to do because thankfully, spirit, whatever was guiding me, or just kind of faded, however, whatever you want to call it. But I knew to check her pulse. I knew that, okay, there's no pulse. there's no breathing. We got to give her CPR. And gave her CPR. And then like I would tell my mom, I'm like, you gotta go like this, here, do the compressions, how many compressions to how many blows. And we did that for a while. Her and I traded on and off until the paramedics finally came. And they said, I remember we got to the hospital and it was a long time of that. Priests and doctors were coming up to me like, we heard that you gave your grandmother CPR. And I'm like, yeah. And they said, well, she was still unconscious. She was in ICU and in a coma. But they said, if you didn't do that right away, like they said that she had like 8 electrons left or something weird. And if you didn't do that, like she wouldn't have been here. So like, good job. Great. I'm like, okay. And it's just, you know what I mean? Different things like that, that your body is so intelligent. You're already inclined to certain things you may not be aware of, but it's recognizing that, oh, that event happened. I'm pretty sensitive to other people's feelings or just knowing, you know, but that's happened to me now looking back. That's happened to me so many times in my life. Walking up the stairs, my mom's with me and I'm like, hold on, something's going to happen. She just fell backwards. And before she fell backwards, I went behind her and caught her. We were at the mall. I'm like, so how did I know that was going to happen?
Wow.
Then with my ex-partner, I felt his crisis become on before he did, where I'm like, hold on a second, my ears are ringing, my speech is slurring, my heart's racing, my blood pressure went up to like 160 over 110 out of nowhere. I'm like, holy shit, I need to calm down. I tell you the story?
Yeah, I've heard
Okay,
it, but
okay,
tell the
okay.
audience. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
It's really crazy.
It's crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what, I won't go too much into it, but we're in the middle of the jungle, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting all, I'm not on anything. It's 10 a.m. in the morning. Why would I be on anything? But I mean, talking about like plant medicine, whatnot. And and then I go through all these crazy symptoms. And then I realize I'm like, I don't think this is me. I think I'm feeling you. And yep, that was the truth. So he went into a whole crisis, almost died. He saw the tunnel. And like through that connection, I somehow helped him. But whatever, those are just some stories. But it's cool to own those gifts, even though they could have been scary. But it's like, oh, I'm very much a feeler or a knower or a seer, you know? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is, wow, Maria. Those
So,
are amazing stories. That's amazing stories. I'm a feeler too. I'm a feeler like you are, but I know people who get symbols, will get a visual of something happening. Get one woman I know, she was her son and her son's father-in-law went on a trip. And she, before the trip happened, saw them getting into a car accident. She was wide awake. She just kept visualizing this car accident over and over again. She tried to tell them and they were like, we're fine, don't worry. And they got in a car accident. They were okay. But so she saw it. And I just wanted to say that today. So that's an example in case you are a seer out there. That's how it comes across. Or just knowing, you just get a thought. If you get a thought out of nowhere, or I noticed, I wanted to say this because my thoughts, looking back over the years, I'll get a thought and it's very subtle and I dismissed it so many times, but it was always true. It was just subtle thoughts like, I should call this person, I should call this person, I should call this person. I'm like, I'm too busy, I don't have time. And it ended up being really important. And so when I finally did, I was like, okay, yes. So those are examples for people to know how your gifts might be perceived inside you,
so true.
Yeah. Well, our next question was, how has being psychic helped you? And you kind of already explained that. You gave a lot of great examples of how it's helped you.
Yeah.
Being psychic, I've said this before, but I used to think it was a curse. I thought it was a curse and I tried to turn it off. And when I embraced the truth about it and the gift and what it does for other people and how it helps me, I know when I help someone else, I feel better. So I've really being psychic, I help a lot of people, and that feels really good to me. It feels really joyous. I like to see people heal from illnesses. I like to see people just thrive and get better, get into better relationships, be happy with themselves, become strong and confident. But there's kind of a fun side to being psychic that I'm realizing more and more. And because I have 2 kids. And so my kids try to hide things from me. And being psychic, I'm like, I know it's right there. My son took my cell phone one day and hid it under, he was sitting on it. And I'm like, where's my phone? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, you're sitting on it. I know you took my phone and you're sitting on my phone. He's like, dang it. I don't like that you're psychic. He was so mad.
That's hilarious.
So I kind of have some fun with my kids and my husband too. We have fun, playing games or guessing things or, and it comes in handy when you lose something. I am able to find things really quick. My son lost, if you've ever seen a Nintendo Switch game, they're tiny. They're like 1 inch big. He lost it, not in the case. And I was like, okay, let's find this. I just asked, okay, where is this? And I, at that time, got an image of this drawer it was in. And sure enough, we went right there and there was the game. So there is kind of some fun side benefits to being psychic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just really like to do it with my kids, or they come home and I'll be like, I know this happened today. And they're like, oh, can't get away with anything. And they're like, sometimes they think it's funny and sometimes they get really mad at me and they're like, stop scanning me, Mom. And
Oh my God. That's so funny. That's so cool.
Yeah. So excuse me. I've learned though to back off and give them their space and not be so invasive. And I don't want to know everything about my kids. I want them to have their own private experiences, but that's just some fun things about being psychic too. It can be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Let's do question number 8. Do you want to do question 8?
Yeah. Which psychic ability am I most good at, or which psychic ability are you most good at?
I am good at feeling, and I can feel other people's pain in their body. So, I can feel, it started when I was very young. My grandmother had breast cancer, and when I was around her, my chest would hurt. So anytime I work with someone or go by someone, I can sense it before it happens too. I can sense some part of their body not okay because I feel it. If I'm working with a client and my shoulder starts to hurt, I know that they've got a shoulder problem. And so I don't know if that's answering the question right, but I feel, and that allows me to go in and help the other person. When I work on their body, then I have some energy techniques where I can go in and bring in some extra energy and light, which we'll talk about in another episode sometime, quantum physics and how that all works. But I am definitely a feeler. So Maria, what psychic ability are you the most good at?
I would say feeling as well. Feeling's my indicator. Same thing you're saying. It's like you get a feeling or a sense, a knowing, a feeling first, and then maybe a knowing of someone or something or what's to happen. Sometimes symbols, like if I kind of want to like turn on my my sight, I can, and then I'll just receive images, especially connecting to a deceased loved one. What do they look like where are they, and then allow the information to come in more easily. But I would say most good at feeling and seeing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We've never talked about this, and I have to study this more too. And I'm sure someone in the audience is going to know. I know when I'm meditating, my hands will make different symbols all the time. I get this a lot.
Really?
My hands, when I go into meditation, I will feel a current come in, and my hands do all sorts of different weird, like this is one, I don't know. It seems funny, but I can feel when I do that, it's like energy is projecting off my fingers tips differently. And I have no idea what they mean. I don't usually get a message with them, but I got to make a note of that. I
Yeah.
think they're called mudras.
I was just gonna say, do you have any experience with mudras? Because it seems like you're already, have you ever practiced mudras?
No, no, I haven't. So I see everybody can always learn something at any time. I want to go, I will study more about mudras. What do you know
Definitely.
about mudras? Did you use them in
No,
meditation or
I just
yoga?
know like this is one or this is one, but certain the way you direct your fingers or your hands like brings in certain energy or emits certain energy, and that's what you're doing. Sometimes when I'm meditating, I'll go like this, but that's about it. But that's cool that yours are very specific.
My husband does that all the time too. I can tell when he has his hands like that, I know something's going on. He's getting some type of download or information.
Mhm.
I will have to look that up because it's crazy. It happens a lot. And I
Yeah.
didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
I get symbols too. And I did look them up, but I didn't find what they meant. I have two that repeat all the time, and I wish I had a board to draw them right now for everybody to see, just in case anybody's ever had experience that. But do you get like I get like a symbol? You know, Reiki has symbols.
Yeah.
If you learn
This one.
Reiki, yeah,
Mhm.
there's a
Mhm.
symbol in there, but I get some different. They're not Reiki symbols. I'm not sure where they come from, but I should look them up and see. I
Yeah.
tried before, but I don't think I looked deep enough into symbols. So
Okay. Yeah. I'm so glad you're taking notes of this.
yes, this is all the stuff I need to go study. There's always so much. I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask the next question. What, Maria, is your ultimate goal with being psychic?
Ooh, my ultimate goal would be to literally know anything I want. And I feel like I can for the most part, but I really just want to know anything and everything. And that's completely possible. And to be able to use this knowingness to heal using the energy clearing techniques to really like enhance the healing abilities.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That would be my ultimate goal too, is really I just I just know from where I came from, I don't want to see anybody ever struggle or hurt or not have a solution or answer. And there's a lot of times I see people totally give up and they feel like there's no way. I'm thinking of one client in particular. When I started working with her, she was so sick and she couldn't find a solution from any of the doctors, any of the specialists. Nobody could find a solution. And that's when I love that there is alternative methods out there. There's more than meets the eye that we can work on to really heal the body, to make the body better, and to create a life you love and that you
Did you help her?
enjoy.
Hmm.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And it was a combination. I mean, there are times I have to tell clients, go see a doctor right now. This is emergency. Go see your doctor. There's times, I believe we do have to use modern medicine. And sometimes there's not an answer through modern medicine. So we have to try other things. But yes, I helped her. She had to get some help from a doctor, and she's doing so much better now. And a combination with the energy work and helping her get her life back on track, it's wonderful. So I like that is a part of being psychic, is knowing she needed to go somewhere and get additional help to be okay.
Yes, definitely.
I like that. So yes, my goal is I want people to be happy and enjoy life and be okay. That's really, really what I think it's all about, and why I think we do what we do
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is to spread the love and the joy around.
Yeah, definitely. Hmm.
Yeah. All right, Maria, do you have anything else you want to add?
Um, I don't think so. I would say if you're someone listening who wants to develop your psychic abilities or intuition more, or your healing gifts, explore them. Like tune in, connect up. If you're curious about it, just go, take the plunge.
Right. Yes. Go for it. Get a book.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to be just drawn to the right person, the right place, the right circumstance that gives you the information that you're looking for to develop your amazing abilities. Yeah. Something too, I just want to throw out there that does affect sometimes your intuition are beliefs and old patterns in your life. You know, a lot of that comes in from childhood and the way we grew up, or trauma. If you've had a traumatic experience in your life, sometimes those beliefs or traumas are kept on a cellular level in the body. And so with energy work, you can heal that and release that trauma out, and that will also help develop your intuition and your psychic abilities as well. That's something Maria and I both do specialize in. We are able to help people with that. So if they wanted a session with you, Maria, where would they go to find more information?
You can find me on my website, which is intuitivecoachmaria.com, or if you're on social media, there's Instagram. The handle is @MariaShapester.
Awesome. And if you'd like to know more about what I do, you can go to my website, which is AnnieBryson.com. We are always here for you, and we love your comments and feedback. So we have our Facebook page, Empowerment Hour, where you can go there and you can leave your comments or questions. We love questions. That helps us develop what other episodes we can do in the future. So please leave feedback. We love that. All right, everyone. We hope that you have a fabulous rest of your day, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.